Hey everybody, what's up? Frank Fradella here, the Art of Creation show. Been gone for a little while, but I'm back along with the amazing, the astounding, the absolutely stunning in Austin,
Yes.
Rebecca Jane Boswell.
Stunning in Austin. And yeah, so I'm not sure that we've done the show from, like, I don't think we've been in the same places respectively for months. So how cool. So now you're in Ireland. And I'm in Austin. We were talking about how that was coming. We didn't anticipate you being in Ireland. That's pretty cool. It never shows up the way you think it's going to, right? And yeah, there's been a ton going on in both of our worlds, and I'd love to kind of give a little update on what that is, and also make a little announcement about about the show and what's coming up. So first. Thanks again to all of you who are watching and who have stuck with us over the last 6 months. And yeah, so Frank, what are you creating right now? What are you creating? What is your world like? How the heck did you get to Ireland? You were supposed to be in Italy.
I was supposed to be in Italy, right? And this whole thing where I was supposed to just submit these papers and then get my Italian citizenship, and we were going to stay in Italy forever. And the way it actually went down was that one of my documents had a clerical error on it, and there wasn't enough time to get a new one before our 90-day visa expired. So the way the Schengen states work, Italy being one of them, is that they have a 90 out of 180-day rule, so that you can only be in their country without a visa for 90 days out of every 180 days. So I exhausted those 90 days, and so they were like, well, now you have to get out for 90 days before you can come back and submit this one piece of paper. So we've just been on the lam. Like, that's literally like it's like a Bonnie and Clyde.
That poor lamb. That poor little lamb. You're like, move over. I get the tail.
I'm looking at lamb right now. Lamb and cows right out the window. When London was crazy expensive. We found a flat in London that was the cheapest one we could find. Like, the reasonably priced one was like £3,000 for the month, and everything other than that was like anywhere from £12,000 to £44,000 a month.
Wow.
Right. So we couldn't do that again. And that place, there was no internet, so I couldn't do that again. So we just looked for someplace that was reasonably priced, and we found this lovely little village in Ireland, and this lovely stone kind of farmhouse, just really rural, but we were sure they had internet. And I was like, what? It's beautiful, it's inexpensive, it's got internet, what more could I ask for? And what we got was cows and sheep. And lovely Irish weather.
That doesn't sound bad.
I see what you did there. I did it well.
Sounds like a good move to me. I'm used to slaving. I know. So, I mean, how awesome is that, though, right? And so you had this ask, right, to go and travel the world with your family and to be this international man of mystery, right? And so you thought that meant moving to Italy. And would you have guessed a year ago if someone had said to you, oh yeah, in the next year you will have lived in Italy, you will have lived in Ireland and London, you know? I mean, not just England, but like London, right?
Right, yeah.
Would that have even like had a place to land in your world?
No. And the fact is, like, when I look back at the number of countries that I've been in and worked in the past year blows my mind. Like, just the number, I'm like, wow, I did that in a year. That's amazing. Like, that is the life I've been asking for the longest time, and it just didn't show up the way I thought it would. So that's been just so much fun.
Yeah. And I wonder, so now in a year, right? I wonder when you're looking at what you've created over the past year, I wonder in a year what this conversation will look like. And what are you asking for?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question. So I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been doing
Yeah, the Geek Guide to Consciousness, folks.
The Geek Guide to Consciousness has been blowing up for me, and
awesome.
and I mean, like, there's just like 2 people shy of 200 people in the group. So I mean, when I say blowing up, I don't mean like, you know, I'm drawing crowds like the Dalai Lama here, but I mean like energetically what this is doing in my life, and the response that I'm getting from people publicly, privately, that it's being a contribution in a way that I feel like I was capable of. Like, I didn't have to mimic somebody else's vibe or follow the same kind of pattern or shtick that like other people in Access do. I came to this with a unique point of view, and I wanted to retain that. I didn't want to become like a stamped out carbon copy of somebody else in Access. And for me, I do this all the time naturally, where like somebody will like mention a tool or something, and like I'll immediately equate it with like some stupid geek reference, Star Wars, Star Trek,
yeah,
Harry
Batman.
Potter.
We've used the Batman analogy several times. Superman.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like, so now I'm just putting it out there. Like, I'm just taking, you know, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I put out a new tool, and it's fascinating for me to watch how people, even people within Access, are like, I'd never thought about it like that before. I'm like, yeah, you've had these tools all along. They've been sitting right there.
Yeah.
And like nobody just pointed out that no, that's a tool. That's you can use that. You take that and you build shit with it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you take stuff apart with it too, which is kind of cool. So that's awesome. And this, you know, it really has the flavor of your gifts and your capacities and what you bring to the world. And it's been really fun to see the engagement of the people who are there. And there's almost like, when you first created the group, I really got the sense of like this collective sigh of relief, right? For a lot of the people in the group who are like, oh, finally, like, this is my place to call home. Like, this really is the conversation I'd like to have, and this is where I like to play. And so to have that playground like that is really, really cool. And
thanks.
And I wonder what else you can create. And, you know, when you go to places like Comic-Con, or when you go to these places that are, you know, part of the life that you've been living for many years before Access, you know, what can you actually bring out into the world that is, you know, is something that no one else is choosing, that no one else is creating? And what can that create not only in the lives of the people that you come into contact with, but also like on the planet? Because sometimes we forget that the people that we come into contact with, right, they're never the same afterwards, for, you know, in whatever way they change, right? But like, we continuously are changing, and when other people are now all of a sudden using just having another way of looking at the world, or having a tool that they can use, you know, what does that create in their lives, and how does that then affect the people that they come into contact with, and how does that actually butterfly effect to everyone on the planet, right? Be you, change the world.
Right. Yeah.
In case you haven't heard that before.
So the thing that I loved was I had started a discussion. I started this more than a week ago with a tool about judgment. And I was talking about Thor's hammer.
Yeah. And
this conversation about Thor's hammer was about, you know, in the comic books, Thor's hammer has an enchantment on it from his father, Odin. That judgment is only someone who is worthy can lift the hammer. And like, this is literally a physical manifestation of your parents' judgment. Like, can you imagine walking around with this thing for thousands of years? Like, literally, it's just your father's judgment of you all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And like, all of a sudden people are like, oh, right? Oh my God, that's so wild. And then like a week later, I'm like, by the way, when we talk about Odin's judgment, what does that actually mean? Like, because you think worthiness and you have a point of view about what worthy is, but you're not a Viking god who killed his own father, right? Like, worthiness to a Viking god might be how much raping and pillaging you've done.
Yeah.
Right? So like, Thor might be able to lift that hammer because he's done enough raping and pillaging. Like, you don't, like, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh my God, stop. right? Because now you're blowing it apart, right? Because now you're actually starting to look at things.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, oh, Thor's cool. Thor has a hammer. I like Thor. But now Thor has got depth, right? And like everything in your life, I think everybody you meet in your life is like that hammer. It's like that judgment, like where you operate from a point of view. And so for me, this Geeks Guide thing has been such a gift to make access accessible to a whole group of people who wouldn't have chosen it before, who never in 1,000 years would have gone to a class with Gary or Dane. And they're fantastic facilitators, obviously, but it's the wrong brand of coffee, right, for this particular group of people, right?
Yeah.
And it's like these
they might
guys
not even drink coffee.
They don't. Right? This is the Mountain Dew crowd, right? I mean, this is right. So
Right.
this is so. Yeah, it's been such a blast, and I'm so glad that you're in the group and that you've been enjoying it, and everyone's been enjoying it. I'm just immensely grateful that I just started. Like I didn't have a point of view about where it was going to go, and I just started.
Yeah. Cool. And you know, in the notes for this show, you know, Frank will put the link to that group. So if you're watching this and that's something that really lights you up and sounds really fun and you want to go and participate or even just kind of be a fly on the wall and see what kind of cool things he's cooking up, then, you know, you certainly can go and join the group as well. Are there any prerequisites for joining the group? Anyone can join, right?
Anybody can join, right. And so this will ultimately become a 2-day class.
Awesome.
And let's just come and geek out together, and you get a whole bunch of tools that'll change your life, and you walk away. And like, you know, the way that I've described the class is like, if you ever saw the show The Greatest American Hero, where like he had this suit and the suit allowed him to do magical, amazing things, but it always worked badly because it didn't come with an instruction manual, and he flew crazy and he crashed into walls, and like his super strength only worked half the time. And like, and like, he had all of these innate abilities, but they didn't work because he didn't have the instruction manual. Yeah. This class is that instruction manual.
Oh, cool.
So so you get to leave with your super suit on, and you get to go fly away and own your life. So
but don't choose it.
But don't choose that. Whatever you do.
Don't choose that. If you just want to have total fun and freedom flying in your life, then you know it may not be for you. But
not for you.
If a little freedom and a little awesomeness and a lot of cape wearing is up your alley, then go for it.
Right.
But only if you want to have fun. Cool. And
what's going on with you? Talk to me. What's going on?
Yeah. So now, so there's, you know, I've been facilitating classes, which has been really fun. There have been a bunch of money classes that were scheduled over the course of the year. So we have more coming up, actually, a How to Become Money class. I'm co-facilitating that. It's a 5-week class starting on the 12th of September. And then we also have a 1-day deep dive into the same workbook on the 5 week starts on I think the 12th or 13th, and then whatever that Tuesday is. And then on the Sunday, the 15th, we have a 1-day deep dive. So for people who are actually looking to do that workbook the 100 or more times, it's a great chance to do that. We have a lot of people that keep coming back, and then we're doing the advanced workbook again in November. So to take that class, you have to have actually gone through the workbook at least 5 times. So that's been super fun. I just had finished up facilitating a call earlier today, co-facilitating with another facilitator, Kathleen Connor, sorry. And she and I have been doing this Limitless Lunch class about shopping for your reality, and that's been super fun. And I've been doing just a lot of that and being a lot of that question, the whole, like, what would I actually like as my reality here? As I am physically shopping for things for the new house, and also as I'm kind of looking at the energies that I'm choosing and, you know, what would I like to create as this, you know, as this whole new experience. You know, I'm meeting new people, going to new places. The house is totally different. You know, how would I like to be in this place? What would I like to be? And what is fun and light? And so that's been just the creation of living, which has been really cool. And some other kind of fun things that I've been playing with to launch later in the month or beginning of October, some other classes, some other groups that kind of have a little bit kind of like your Geeks Guide, right? That actually have a little more of like a place for different people to come and play. And so I'm just going to leave that as a teaser, so that as they begin rolling out, that you can choose to come and play with that. And then of course, teaching physical classes too. And there's a big announcement, right, Frank?
Yes.
You and I have a big announcement to make, and it has to do with this show.
Yes, it does. So I will be stepping away from the show for, well, indefinitely. But Rebecca, I leave the show in very, very excellent, good hands.
Yes.
So
cool.
I have a visitor. Yeah, please take it away, because it's your show now.
Oh, it's all mine. So Frank is going to be hello there, Chili Bomb. So Frank is going to be creating all of the things that Frank is creating, and I know that you will come back and do some fun episodes with us and share what you have going on and some of those key pearls from your Geeks Guide. And in addition, I'm going to be taking over the show, and we're going to keep the show name, The Art of Creation, so that you can still find us. We're still keeping the Facebook page so that you can have that space where we'll have the events listed for when the next live is going to happen. I may be switching to do the calls or the show via Zoom and then uploading to YouTube.
Cool.
One of the things that Frank and I had been talking about was about actually having more people having the possibility of coming on the show. So in really truly inviting questions, inviting topics of interest that you can send in. And then also, if there is a particular topic and you want to come in and participate on the show, that you can do that. I'm playing with a bunch of different pieces and looking at, what can be really fun with this show in terms of having a bunch of different people pop in and out. We have somebody who is probably going to be doing some roving reporter type segments, which I'm really excited about, going out and actually just talking to people in the world
Cool.
around whatever our theme is for that particular show. And, one of the things that has me really jazzed right now and that I'm really asking a lot about is just like, who is creating on this planet in ways that that really is contributing to the future that we'd like to create collectively. And whether it's, your neighbor that, has begun doing this thing that you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I wish everybody knew about it. Having them on the show, right? Up to like, what would it take to have Elon Musk on the show, right? What's he creating? What kind of future is he creating? And all the people, all the people in between and also beyond in this conversation. So really looking at like, what can we create? What's already being created that we could become more aware of? And what are the choices that we can make in our everyday life? And what's already out there that we can actually contribute energy to creating more of, instead of just feeding into the fear and the negativity and the FML kind of energies that are super prevalent right now. And what if there are other possibilities? And what if a weekly show, what if we can actually contribute energetically and in whatever other ways to creating more of the change that we'd like to see, and having all these different points of view, right? So whether people are using, I use a lot of tools from Access Consciousness ever since my coaching practice shifted to include a lot of the tools. I use them. They work for me. So I include that. And there are also tons of other tools that come from all kinds of different places, some of which are actually the same tool, just with different packaging, right? As you're exploring with the Geeks Guide, Frank. But also just different points of view, and what would it take to be exposed to all kinds of different points of view, whether it works for us or not, just knowing, okay, what is possible that I haven't even considered yet? and just, you know, opening up the doors of possibility through those different conversations. So that's kind of where the ship is headed. And, you know, it's just me talking in a Zoom. If nobody is participating, engaging, watching, asking questions. So this is a huge invitation for everybody watching, all of you, to really contribute to this. And what if this could actually be a tool to contributing to the future that we'd like to see on the planet? So that's what we have cooking, among other things. And yeah, what will it take to have more fun than we ever imagined in all of that?
So before I lose the light here, I'm literally operating by candlelight. I had sunlight for a little while, and
oh my gosh,
I'm losing it. So it's like, I'm literally like old stone farmhouse.
So
like I had candelabras in the house. So before I lose the light, I have to give a huge shout out to Rebecca for being my partner in this endeavor. Rebecca was the rock here, and I was just the flotsam and jetsam that came in, and just, I made her life miserable. I was so hard to nail down. My life was so chaotic, moving countries, passports, visas, this dog, right? Like, my life was in total pandemonium. And it was like a storm in a teacup, and the whole time she's like, "Show today?" And I'm just like, I'll try to swim to shore. I don't know. And she's like, "Come on!" And I'm like, so if the show, you know, about 90% of the time, I have to say, if the show really happened because Rebecca believed in it so much, and she knew that there was a strong message here that was valuable to people to hear. And I'm so glad that she's willing to take the baton and take the show forward. And she's extended the offer to me to come back and have conversations with her. And I'm literally choked up over that, at how gracious that is. So thank you so much for that. So you haven't seen the last of she and I together,
yes,
but you have seen the last of us today.
Yes, for now. What else is possible? Cool. So we are just grateful to all of you for watching, and I wonder what we'll create moving forward. And yeah, I wonder what all is possible now for all of us. And I'm not sure when you'll see me next, but keep an eye open, and be sure to check out Frank's Geek's Guide to Consciousness, and see if that's fun. You can go play there all you want. He'll make more. And that's it for today. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining, and thank you for joining. It's nice to see your sparkling face. Okay,
right, thanks so much. Today. This has been Frank Friedel and Rebecca Jane Boswell for the Art of Creation show.
Yes.
You guys be good to yourselves and excellent to each other. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.